Should be the last rollout video. I think I'm going to add all these videos to the teaching post, which I was going to upload today. So you'll get like that video as well, which was made like 4 days ago. So I won't write a lot of notes, though I should. But we'll end with this. Why does it irk me, besides all that you heard me speak about, that the city of Corpus Christi is trying to get money because of the serious opioid drug epidemic that does indeed go on in the country? And there are many cities across the USA that have a huge problem with the over-dispensing of prescription opioids. Corpus Christi, statistically, is not one of those cities. Now, this is by the waterfall, by Levante Park, but water is not flowing. Number two, some in the recovery community trying to help people get over drug addiction and so forth, some actually think, which I give you some examples, that some are actually on the streets abusing drugs because Corpus Christi is known as a city that is very difficult to get a legitimate prescription for PTSD, for antidepressive, whatever. That's kind of known. Now, we also have a drug problem in the city, and it might, to some, it could be associated with the fact that our city and the drug companies who dispense drugs to doctors, ours is not one that abuses it. Maybe we don't even follow the guidelines of a normal city in the USA. We're low to prescribe in this city. Some think that contributes to the drug problem that you see on the streets, that some of us are trying to help people with. Okay. One of the recovery centers, which is the best one, and I've taken friends there, and it's not too far from here, right down the highway. It's called Charlie's Place. And Charlie's Place is good. I've never been in the program, but I've taken many of my friends to Charlie's Place to help them overcome addiction. That was started by, I believe, a Christian man, but a man by the name of Charlie originally, and some of my friends said they knew the original guy. But that's a private facility. Okay? The city I just left, called San Antonio, the city spends a tremendous amount of money. They opened up a center maybe 10 years ago called Haven of Hope. The city itself spends a lot of money in recovery. Not Corpus Christi does not. Okay, so you have a lot of people with drug addiction problems. Some say it's because we should be the last city in the world joining the lawsuit because of what I just explained. But then why? What does that lawsuit accomplish? I don't care if the city wants to get money from this class action suit against pharmaceutical companies. But it might even put more of a damper on actual doctors who already are not prescribing at the normal rates that other cities prescribe. And what might that lead to? More of my friends on the streets because they can't get actual help that they need. And what, a few weeks ago, I didn't post this, but I'm telling you the truth on these articles. I can't add all the links. There was a drug raid. You got to read. I read this in the Caller Times. But you got to read, not between the lines. It was there for those who wanted to read. There were a couple of law enforcement agencies, maybe the DEA and another one. They did a big drug raid. And the article said, and the CCPD helped with the search. Not with the investigation. The other legal entities, meaning they did not inform the CCPD that they were scoping out a particular residence because of drug activity. They were only involved, meaning when the dime was dropped and they made the arrest, then they let CCPD know, oh, by the way, you can help us with the search now. And what that told me was they didn't trust the CCPD to know that they were investigating that particular home. This was like maybe a month ago or a few weeks ago. I didn't comment on it. So why else would the city leaders sue, knowing that the low prescription rate within Corpus Christi contributes to the illegal drug trade? Not only might they get money, but it might continue to contribute to the illegal drug trade within the city of Corpus Christi. Do you understand? All things are not always as they appear. You know, if I can mention this one, I know the man. Many years ago when I was doing a Bible study in Clayburgh County, look at this truck parking right next to me. Many years ago when I was doing, he waved, I ain't waving. I was doing a study in, Bible study in the jail in Clayburgh County. We had various sheriffs at that time. One of them was Adam Munoz, a good Catholic man, I believe, a Christian man, Adam Munoz. And he knew me also from the fire department. He was a good man. A Democrat. Eventually he made it to his lead position. I forget what it was, but had to do with law enforcement, and he was a good man. And there was some investigation in Nueces County Sheriff's Department. The sheriff is Jim Kalin. And Adam Munoz released certain information about that investigation. And the sheriff did a particular thing at the time to try to get Adam Munoz brought up on charges. There was some type of that suit against one of the top law enforcement agents in the state, Adam Munoz. Now he did that, and anybody that saw what he did, it was wrong what he did. And I'm only mentioning that to say they went after him, those that are locally connected here. And I thought, that's not just, that's not law. Why'd you go against that man, Adam Munoz, former sheriff of Clayburgh County? I had a friend of mine, more than one, tell me, and for Christian people, the name of Corpus Christi, if leadership is involved in a cult, meaning people that are leaders in the community, another car right here, if they do cult things, worship Satan, Lucifer, things of that nature, do you think that that would maybe be problematic? Some of these people I'm speaking about are Masons, part of the Masonic Lodge. I even heard a radio personality, he is not on the radio right now. I guess he used to be a Mason. I didn't dislike him. He had some problems. He used to be a radio personality here. I liked him actually, but I heard him kind of defending the word Lucifer. Now, depending how high up people in that organization go, things to actual worship of Lucifer, Satan, and people that are in this little group I just mentioned to you practice those things. I'm not prejudiced against atheists, against Muslims, or even against Masons. But if you have leadership that is practicing these things that many Christians feel is actual satanic occult practices, and then they're coming against other former sheriffs who are Christian men, it shows me that you got problems here. Okay, you got problems that are, I don't know every detail of everything, but there was enough that upset me to realize that our city's trying to cash in. A city that doesn't spend near the amount of other cities to help with drug addiction. If Corpus Christi was known to put a lot of money into that, the problem you see with my friends that I try to help, problem with homelessness, problem, our city does not. And yet they're wanting to cash in like a cash cow. You don't have the right to. You not shown, you've shown a tremendous amount of disrespect to the homeless population. They don't get the same rights as normal citizens, whether it be homicide or a death that's not investigated. And now you want to cash in on an epidemic that is truly an epidemic in the country, and you want to cash in, and you have not done our city, which should have been the last one to try to cash in. So I'll end the last news update, because I got too many people watching. The last news update will be Al Franken, I guess, should resign. I listened to talk radio on this ride. Al Franken is the Democratic senator who a reporter said that in a skit Al Franken forcefully stuck his tongue down her mouth, which now we have to believe the accusations of the women, because that's what you're doing on all the others. And then there was another statement they went back and found that he made. Now, granted, he wasn't the senator, but I heard the statement, okay? I didn't read the whole thing. Maybe there was a hate crime where a homosexual man was killed. And Franken made this statement, from what I heard on the radio, I don't like homosexual men, and I'm glad he's dead. Now, if he made that statement, I don't care if you're not a senator at the time. If that's a true statement, that you said that, you should resign immediately. Besides the fact that they got a photo of Al Franken either feeling up this reporter or close enough, but she was sleeping on an airplane at the time. So the man should resign, simple as that. This will be the last little, if it goes up with the concern that this city of Corpus Christi has shown to homeless people and to help with the problem. And the money that they put into it is abysmal compared to other cities. And many other cities that throw a lot of money into it, meaning the opioid epidemic is costing many of those other cities much, much more, even compared to the population. You put all that in. And some of them are not suing. So I see the leadership of this city simply trying to cash in on the real human tragedy, which is drug addiction, poverty, substance abuse. And they're trying to cash in to a poker hand that they've never even barely put any money into.